Good evening. This is a meeting of the Athens Board of Zoning Appeals. The time is 7:01 and the date is December 13th, 2011. At this time, I will call the meeting to order. The board consists of 5 members and 2 alternates, the alternates taking full part in the discussions and becoming a voting member in the absence of a member or when a member abstains for conflict of interest. Present tonight are members Lisa Carson, John Golsey, Betty Hollow, Joan Pappy, and Kay Towsley. This evening, Lisa Carson, alternate, will be voting as a regular member. Also present are zoning administrator John Paskey and secretary Paul Eschenbacher. No. The board operates under the following procedures. Number 1, the chair will name and describe the case. 2, the zoning administrator or secretary will state the basis of the objection and any applicable facts or conditions pertaining to the case. Number 3, the appellant or the representative will give reason why the appeal should be viewed favorably. Number 4, anyone wishing to speak in favor of the request will be heard. 5, anyone wishing to speak in general comment will be heard. 6, anyone wishing to speak in opposition will be heard. 7, if necessary, the appellant or the representatives will offer concluding summary or rebuttal remarks. And 8, testimony from the floor will be closed and the board will deliberate and render a decision. According to the Athens City Code Section 23.07.03b, the board has the power to grant variances from the strict application of the code, provided that the variance will be not contrary to the public interest, the spirit of the code is observed, public safety and welfare are secured, and substantial justice is done. According to the Athens City Code Section 23.07.10c, variances from the code shall not be granted unless the board finds, based on direct, specific findings of the fact, that each of the following conditions will be supported. Practical difficulty and undue hardship. Because of exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions pertaining to a specific piece of property, a literal enforcement of these regulations will result in practical difficulty or undue hardship that is unnecessary to achieve the public purpose. Exceptional circumstances. There are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or to the intended use of that property that do not apply generally to the other properties or classes or uses in the same zone. Preservation of equal property rights. Literal interpretation of these regulations would deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone and of the same vicinity, while granting the request variance would not confer on the appellant any special privilege that is denied other properties in the same zone and the same vicinity. Minimum variance. The variance granted is the minimum variance required to make possible the reasonable use of the property. Absence of detriment. The authorizing of such a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property and not materially impair the purpose of the zoning code or the public interest. Not of a general nature. The condition or situation of a specific piece of property or intended use of said property for which the variance is sought, one or the other or in combination, is not so of a general or recurrent nature as to make reasonable practical formulation of the general regulation of such conditions or situations. Any person, resident, officer, department, or appointed body of the City of Athens aggrieved by the decision of the board may petition the Athens County Court of Common Pleas concerning the illegality of this decision. Such petition must be filed within 30 days after mailing of the decision of the board to the appellant. There are 3 cases on tonight's agenda. Case number 11-23V, Wharton Rentals Appellant. Case 11-24V, Jerry Jaggers Appellant. And case 11-25V, Richard P. Buckley and Virgie Mae Buckley Appellants. The board is required to take testimony under oath. Would anyone wishing to speak concerning any item on the agenda please stand? Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you will present to the board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Please be seated. The first case is case number 11-23V.
Greg, if I may, I
Yeah.
think if there's anybody here for the previous case that we suspended for tonight until next week, or until next month, to let them know.
That's true. The case about the Smiling Skulls variance request has been postponed. So if anyone was here to speak in any way, shape, or form on the Smiling Skulls request, that case will not be heard this evening. If not, we'll proceed to case 11-23V, Wharton Reynolds appellant. And Paul, would you like to fill us in about that?
It's fairly self-explanatory in the information you were given. They want to construct 2 additional bedrooms for the house. They are not asking for an increase in occupancy. It's going to be 5 as it was before. And they do have a legal rental permit for 5 people with 4 parking spaces. This place has been a rental since at least 1975, so the 4 parking spaces for the 5 people is legally non-conforming.
Okay, would the appellant please come to the podium, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, fellow members of the board. Chris Gehrig here on behalf of John Wharton. My address is 3 West Stimson Avenue here in Athens. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Mr. Wharton here tonight. Hopefully the application speaks for itself. We are asking the board here tonight to grant what we feel to be a very modest variance. The small structure that he'll be adding to the rear of the building will allow for a much nicer property for the tenants to live in. Mr. Wharton could add bedrooms into the structure by building them in the living room or down in the basement, legally as it stands right now. By doing this, quality of life will be better for the tenants, and there will be no damage to any of the property owners next to him. In fact, you'll see from the letters, hopefully in the record, and one gentleman actually cared enough to come and speak in favor of this tonight, that's a neighboring property owner, to explain that they feel that this would be positive, beneficial for the neighborhood and the area to have a quality living space for the tenants occupying it. It's perhaps worthy to note that the building itself was constructed in 1900. So when they put this in place, certainly we had none of the zoning regulations that are in place right now. And so the building has not been updated over the years. And this really allows us to recognize the kind of student housing that's commonplace throughout this area as far as allowing it to be updated and made appropriate for those who would seek to occupy it as tenants going forward in the future. I don't think we're going to add anything in the way of congestion that's already in place. The number of parking spaces were grandfathered in long ago. We're not asking for any additional parking such as it is. The only thing we're asking for is when these 2 bedrooms are added into the building, can we make this as nice a nice living space as possible? Before I turn it over to those who support it, or Mr. Paskey, do you have any questions for me to begin with?
How many bedrooms are in the house now?
3 bedrooms. So, the 2 of the bedrooms are shared, but I think the common perception for tenants these days is they'd like to have their own separate bedroom.
And could you tell us the dimensions of the addition?
The exact dimensions of the addition, I know the additional increase of the variance that's being created by that. Do we have, other than this drawing here, John, do we have anything besides that that would?
I think it says about 250 square feet somewhere.
Would that be a fair characterization of the drawing?
We don't have the drawing.
We don't have
On the application, Betty.
Okay, so we've got some copies there that we'll go ahead and introduce into the record if
Okay.
we could.
Thank you.
But perhaps outline that a little bit more clearly in the way of a schematic, how this might work.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I see, here, 250
Okay.
square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Would the parking now just behind that house totally be eliminated and those cars would find spaces on the street?
No, it's going to be the same parking, 4 parking spaces will
Construction
remain.
is elevated, parking's underneath it.
Oh.
Is that correct?
There will be no loss of parking at all under the variance that we're requesting here tonight.
Floor addition.
It's a second floor addition.
Yes.
Oh, so all the bedrooms will be on the second floor?
Actually, no.
Oh,
There's a big,
I might allow Mr. Warden to speak to this, forgive me, I don't have knowledge in my own mind how the project has been set up, other than I would note that the roof line is altered a little bit, which does increase the amount of coverage by a fairly de minimis amount, but other than that, it would be completely conforming. I would note, maybe I could step away for just a moment to allow Mr. Warden
Yeah.
to clarify if I could.
thank you.
Yes, please state your name and
John
address for the
Wharton.
record, please.
82 North Court Street. The building presently has a basement, and on the main level, when you walk in the front door, there's a living room and a dining room and a kitchen, and then you go upstairs and there's 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. In order to add 2 bedrooms, I can either turn the dining room into a bedroom and still have a living room, obviously, and then have a bedroom in the basement, or instead of doing that, I wanted to just go out on the main level, which is actually not the second level of the building, it's the main level of the building, and that addition would only be that level. It would not go to the 3rd story or the 2nd story of the building. It's just, I'd like to keep a dining room and not turn it into a bedroom, is what I'm saying. And I'd rather not have a bedroom in the basement. I can do it, but when I purchased the house, we did rewire it, replumb it, put in new heating and air conditioning, put up the white picket fence, new siding, new roof. We've invested a fair amount of money in it. We paved the parking that was there. It's all parking. It's just that, just because it's a student rentals, I often say you don't have to look like student rentals. So we want it to be as nice a floor plan as possible.
so going back to the question of parking, you would then go underneath?
Yeah, the parking right now, if you stare at the house, on the left-hand side is the driveway. It goes down behind the house, and the entire area in the back is paved. The only reason why, according to Mr. Patsky, I need a variance is because under the ordinance that was passed this past year sometime, once you add to your roof line, you have to comply with the new water runoff.
coverage.
Yeah. And my water runoff actually won't change because since the entire lot is paved, all I'm going to do is take the additional roof line, will obviously have that water go into gutters, downspouts into the parking lot, which is where it goes now, and then it's directed by storm drain into the main stormwater system.
So with the new poles and structural stuff that will be put on that floor, you'll still be able to maneuver
Oh,
down there?
absolutely, yeah. Most of the load will be borne by a beam that will be coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not even sure we'll have a pole, but we probably will, but if there is, it'll just be one pole, because we'll have a beam underneath it with just one pole. So, thank you.
Are there, Chris Gehrig, again here at 3 West Stimson, are there additional questions I might field beyond the engineering or schematic nature of the plans? Thank you.
The setback issues and the percentage of lot coverage are really taking place
Already.
up in the air,
Yeah.
so to speak, and not on
That's right.
ground level,
That's right.
which will be abutting the neighboring properties.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that's why you see the neighbors who have written to support it really have no objection to it. There's really not a lot to be worried about if you're either adjacent or living in the neighborhood, I would submit to the board. Any other questions? Thank you.
At this time, if there's anyone willing to speak in favor of the request, you may come to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Chairman and members of the board, my name is John Kotowski, and I'm at 14 Northwood Drive. I've been a resident of the city of Athens for 35 years and am now retired, and have a rental property at 79 High Street. I'm here in support. I don't think that anything he's doing does anything other than improve the property. I think it makes it more attractive for the tenants, and consequently, my hope and desire is that it continues to make the area right around the downtown area and the campus attractive to students and less attractive for them to consider moving into the other neighborhoods that are predominantly owner-occupied. And as like I say, as a owner-occupier of a property in Athens, that's something that's certainly always been a concern of mine. So I'm here in support of the effort that John is making to improve the property.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in general comment? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Mr. Gehrig, final comments before we close?
We'd like to thank the board for considering our request tonight. As you can hear, there's only positive support in favor of this, and I think the board knows that if people were against it, you probably would have heard about it from your other matters. So we thank you again, and are there any other further questions?
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll close the floor and go through our discussions and render a decision. Someone like to make a motion?
I will.
Okay, Lisa?
I move that we consider a variance in the case 1123V, 70 North High Street, from Athens City Code 231001A, Table A, Schedule of Bulk Controls, to allow an addition to a non-conforming structure with side yard setbacks of 0 feet and 5 feet for a total of 5 feet, where 8 feet on each side and a total of 20 feet are the minimum requirements, with a rear yard setback of 28 feet, where 40 feet is the minimum requirement, with 36% lot coverage, where 30% is the maximum allowed, with 90% total lot coverage, where 60% is the maximum allowed, and from Athens City Code 231001B, off-street parking requirements, to allow 4 parking spaces, where 5 parking spaces are the minimum requirement.
Second? Second. Okay. The findings. Number 1, practical difficulty and undue hardship. I don't think there's a lot of, it's been stated that there's not a lot of undue hardship since it could be done within the house, its structure itself.
The surrounding properties are similar in nature.
And
I don't see that.
Well, you also have to consider that there's not really any hardship, given the fact that they already have 5 tenants
full
in 4
rental of the
spaces,
property.
so, 6 of 1.
Correct.
Doesn't matter.
exceptional circumstances. Are there any exceptional circumstances applying to this piece of property in question that don't apply to other properties in that zone or area? Again,
I mean, they're upgrading. I mean, I'm sure there's other houses that have doubles and whatever. They're trying to upgrade to make it more.
Well,
more aesthetically pleasing, but
there's
that's not
nothing about the
exceptional.
lot that would warrant this. It's strictly either an aesthetic or a
Well, an economic rentable
economic situation.
rentable,
Yeah.
whether it's one bathroom.
That's true.
Preservation of equal property rights. Little interpretation of these regulations would deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone or the vicinity. Well, like you said, it's already fully rented, and it's a very nice house, and as is, I believe.
I agree.
Minimum variance? It's hard to imagine.
It's multiple variances in here, actually.
So we might say that
grandfather.
Depending on how you count, there are 5 variances requested.
5
Or
variances,
4, if you count.
Or that have already been
not
there.
quite minimal.
Yeah.
Absence of detriment, would the authorization of this variance would not be substantially detriment to adjacent properties and not materially impair the purpose of the code. On that one, I would say, no, it really wouldn't probably not affect or be a detriment to the adjacent properties, since it would be up in the air.
I think that's quite true, and it really might make a nicer place. On the other hand, the code suggests that if you have a non-conforming property, it's not supposed to be enhanced or extended, it's supposed to disappear.
Okay, well stated. Not of a general nature, the condition or situation of this piece of property, its intended use of this piece of property for which the variance is sought is not of a general or recurrent nature. Yes, it's not. That's always so confusing, but yes, it's not. Lisa, we'll start with you.
I vote no.
I would know as well.
Ready?
I also vote no.
Michelle?
I vote yes.
And I vote no. So that's 4 noes and 1 yes. The variance is denied.